All right, well, let's get going here. We'll call this meeting to order. We'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, first item of business is the approval of the minutes of March 9th. Anybody got any corrections they want to make to it?
Move to approve the minutes.
Second.
Been properly moved and seconded that we approve the minutes from March 9th. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed. Motion passes. The next section, or the next item is our public comments on agenda.
Do we have a special board meeting the 17th? We also have another.
Oh, yep, thanks, Nick. All right, I'll entertain a motion on the special board meeting, March 17th.
I move to approve.
Second.
Been properly moved and seconded to approve the minutes from the special board meeting of March 17th. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. And now we'll start on the comments section. I don't see anybody here for that, so then we'll move right on to the superintendent notes. Mr. Ernst.
We can even skip those if you want to go to the review of response. I'll kind of combine those two.
Okay. So then we'll move on to our new business, the review of response to COVID-19.
Okay, so it's been a bit of a whirlwind the last stretch here with a lot of changes, and I feel like our staff really stepped up. I know we talked a little bit about at our last board meeting, but it's been extremely encouraging to see how quickly everything happened, and how I should say the response with our support staff and our teaching staff to get everything ready and in kids' hands. And I know I mentioned this last time, but you know, our as an admin team, we're scrambling to get communication out to everybody and kind of come up with a plan, and then you get railroad and have to change the plan, and the teaching staff got everything out. So we've been meeting quite a bit, and we have a plan which we can. Some of it depends on kind of some of the decisions that happened tonight in closed session, but as far as the teaching staff goes, we have a plan in place. We met. I'll let Mr. Peterson speak directly on the elementary, but even within our admin conversations, the two buildings are so drastically different as far as what the plans need to be, what the grades need to be, and then a lot of information that we're receiving, as you can imagine. We get the feeling like this is going to be a long-term deal, but yet we haven't received anything from Department of Public Instruction saying that, you know, so we still have to operate like there's a return date, which is another variable, you know, when you're discussing like what your plans are and how this is going to look, because I think plans would look very different if we are back on, you know, in the end of April versus not back. So I don't know if you want to speak a little bit just about our meeting this morning that we had with kind of a plan.
Yeah, so we, when we had that frantic, 2-day period to get work sent out to kids, that was, like Mr. Ernst said, again, pretty heroic effort by the staff, honestly, to get that put together, considering no collaboration time, whatever. So that was intended for 2 weeks to get us through the end of this week on April 3rd. So now the question is, okay, we're now going to be out longer, what to do at the high school level. The discussion has always been that, they have the Chromebooks, they have things at home, they have the technology access part of it, able to do everything digitally. In our building, what does it need to look like? So we talked about the different scenarios and options. But we're going to continue, in order to keep the level playing field for all kids and all families, I think we need to continue with being able to send physical material or give physical materials to the kids. And it's also the best way to probably keep them following as close to what, closer version of what they would normally be learning in their classes. So what it looks like, and this isn't even up to the staff yet, and we just talked about it this afternoon, I reached out to a couple, neighboring schools too, to just bounce ideas, what are they doing, but we're going to continue with allowing staff to come in on a staggered schedule for 3 days this week, give them some time to put some materials together again, make copies, get it organized, and then have some support staff to help. And then we're planning on probably Monday evening and Tuesday morning opportunities for families to come in and pick up things. Now we got to do a lot of thinking and planning about how that's going to look so that we keep everybody safe and distanced and whatever. So there's still planning to do there, but and then we'll probably, we'll see what we're left with, what stuff doesn't get picked up. I'm sure there'll be a percentage of people who don't make it in. and then probably end up mailing those things. In talking to a couple other, this was even after you and I talked, a couple other districts, they had pretty good success rate in having parents come in to pick things up. So I'm hopeful that we won't have much left over.
Will they drop things off then too?
Can you drop it off with the food?
We talked about that option, about bringing homework.
Yeah.
We talked about that option, yeah.
The problem with that is that we don't know how long that is going to be in
Yeah.
place. There's a lot of variables in keeping that going. So we think mailing is probably our best option. We definitely have changed our a little bit our thought with obviously we want to continue providing educational material, but we also are have trying to make a move towards just engagement, and that's kind of the key. Suggestions, ideas, engagement, not assignments, and putting more pressure on families at home because everybody's in a different boat. And then kind of the mental health component too, making sure that we're reaching out to all kids, touching base with them. We have a plan at both buildings where we're trying to touch base with kids, but the meetings are and trying to the planning is so difficult because of the restrictions of the orders and how many people you can have in. And we've been doing a lot of Zoom, which you tend to talk over each other, and then you both stop to be polite, and then there's this awkward pause because you're both waiting, and then you both start. There's some of that. So the more people you have, the more difficult it becomes to communicate. But overall, I think we've kind of said it is what it is, and we're doing our best. I think everyone has responded very well. I think our community and our parent group have responded really well. I think they've recognized this is bigger than all of us, and we haven't received any frustrated parents or phone calls or emails like that, just because I think every school is in the same boat, and I think every family is dealing with their own issues at home, including all of us. We're all working through the new norm and figuring out what that really means. And so anyway, we're in the process of communicating out to staff. Our plan is to do a Wednesday teacher meeting on Zoom and then communicate what the grading expectations are, what our plan is for getting more educational material into kids' hands, with the knowledge that, or with the I guess with our thought of where all of our planning and decision making is based on that there will be a return date, but we don't know what that will look like or if that will happen. And I think everyone knows, what it is. I mean, we just don't know if that's going to happen or not. But until something gets communicated to us, I feel like that's what we have to do. So, one of the biggest.
Legally, can grades be pass-fail, or what happens legally with grading?
Yeah, elementary, I don't want to say it doesn't matter as much, but it's a lot easier to make those decisions. High school, this year, all the decisions that we make this year could potentially impact a year or 2 years when we're talking scholarships and GPA, and so we have to be very thoughtful of that. We have talked about kind of everything's on the table at this point. Grades, pass, fail, no grades, having some of this work count towards third quarter, which in essence is just the semester grade. So all of those things are in play right now because we don't know what or if there's a return date. So our plan is to move forward as with the assignment or with at the high school, the assessments that are in the material that's given out. No matter what happens, we'll convene a team to look at what we want the grading process to look like at the end of the year. So try to get some more involvement at the teacher level with that process. So
I just want to say too, we are still going to have online stuff offered at the elementary. Just mean, not every family necessarily has it, but it's more like, the paper stuff is the baseline, but then there's also still, because there are a lot of cool, online apps and things that can be used. So that will still continue to be offered, and the teachers are still monitoring that stuff and communicating with parents that way too. So
more at a supplemental level.
Yeah.
And resource. So one other thing I want to talk about too is the food service program that has been a very extremely difficult piece to implement and get going, but huge thank you to everyone. I sent a survey out to the entire staff just asking who would be willing to be a part of that and help make sure that that keeps going, and we had just an overwhelming response from all staff members. And the ones that didn't respond, many talked to me today and said, I apologize, I didn't see the survey within that email. So it was really, we got a ton of people that were willing to help and step up. So we were able to, we're providing a little over 260 meals, delivery and pickup. If you're on a bus route, you can have it delivered to your house. If you're not, then you have to pick up. So we have a rotation. We're utilizing all support staff first because teacher staff are doing their getting their classes going. And we had plenty of people. I sent it out to everyone just because I wasn't sure who would all be willing to be part of that. So today was the first day implemented with all of the changes in place, and the transportation crew has done a great job. The food service department really stepped up, and then we have a ton of people that are helping out with some of the packing of breakfasts and then the pickup as well. The support staff are doing that. So
Good food supply. Weren't you worried last time we talked?
yeah. As of right now, we have a good food supply. It was a little touch and go in the beginning. We weren't sure if we would even be able to have enough food to make that happen. But Penny tells me that we have enough for a little while now. And then we also are running the backpack program, which is a program that provides some families in need with some non-perishable food items. Then we send a bag home with some non-perishable items for those families as well. So a very good response, and it went very well today. But there's so many pieces with this. It's not just about the help. It's also about making sure everybody's safe, how to properly clean. We reached out to CISA 10. They provide safety instruction. They came over and are providing us with information on how to properly clean everything. Just stuff that you don't even think about as far as like making sure the steering wheel and within the vans are cleaned after we're in them, and the areas that we have where we're packing. Because in the morning the staff report to the high school. All the packing of the meals take place there. Then they're loaded into vans and then taken to the elementary for pickup, and then the rest of them are off to deliver to homes. And the thought behind that was the elementary is just more of a neutral site, and it's easier to access for a lot of those families if kids are walking by themselves, or there's more homes around the elementary, so it's just about the access. So that's kind of where we're at right now, and we're still waiting to, we'll go into closed session here at the end and make some decisions regarding the support staff compensation, and that will hopefully kind of finalize, I don't even want to say that, but hopefully put us in a better place to finalize our plan to get out to staff, and so everybody knows what the expectations are. But at this point, we're following the safer at home order and working at I think the term is minimal operations within the district. So, and I'm going to go through kind of the details of that in closed session.
Okay, any questions, any more? So then the next item of business is the approval for applying to waive hours and instructional requirements.
Okay, so I put that document in your packet. So this is DPI is expediting the process to have boards waive the instructional requirements. This is the resolution that needs to be approved. I highlighted the pieces that are specific to us. So if you want to read through those, and then it does have to be approved in open session. And then once it's approved, then I'll have the ability to apply on behalf of the district for the waiver of instructional minutes.
I move to approve the applying to waive hours of instructional requirements.
It's been properly moved and seconded to approve for applying to waive hours and instructional requirements.
The resolution, yeah.
Favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion passes.
I should have said this before you guys approved it, but not that it makes any difference. But it also has educator effectiveness in there, which allows us to, you only have two options. Either you start everybody over that was on a summative year evaluation, which people would not be thrilled with that considering it's the end of the year and they're already quite a ways through the process, or you can kind of stop where we are and then have a summative virtual meeting, which is what we are planning on doing, having those meetings with those individuals. So.
Okay. So then the next item of business is our contemplated closed session in accordance with WSS 19.851C, considering employment, compensation, or performance data of any public employee over which this governmental body has jurisdiction or exercises responsibility. Support staff compensation during time of closure will be the topic. I'll pull the board. Nadia?
Yes.
Skip?
Yep.
Ryan?
Yes.
Christie?
Yep.
Myself, yes. We are in closed session. All right, we're back in open session. I will entertain a motion.
I make a motion to continue maintaining payroll at 100% for all staff through the duration of the Safe at Home order forced by health agencies or until that order is superseded.
Second.
Been properly moved, and I think it was a tie for the second. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. I will entertain another motion.
I move to adjourn. Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded that we adjourn. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. We are adjourned.